Do you ever feel like this little bunny? You're just waiting for a buyer to pay you. Please pay me, please pay me. I'll even take carrots, lettuce, anything, just pay me. No, you'll take lettuce, the green kind, the kind that you can spend. The fiat money, that's what you want. Anyway, sometimes, why in the world do we even get to this place? eBay is like the only website on earth remaining that lets somebody buy something and it takes it out of the seller's inventory and the buyer doesn't have to pay immediately. Now, eBay's getting better, but in the past, if someone made an offer, or if you made an offer, and if you accepted an offer, or if your buyer accepted an offer, the buyer had a bunch of time to pay. It was taken out of your inventory, it was considered sold, but you couldn't ship it. It was in limbo until you got paid, or until enough time passed by that you could cancel the quote sale, and then it goes back into your inventory for sale. Even today, whenever an offer is accepted on either side, the buyer or the seller, it's possible that it is not paid for almost immediately. But again, eBay's getting better at that. Now, when it comes to bidding, when it comes to auctions, which I realize most of us these days don't do nearly as many auctions, like hardly any, compared to the number of buy it now, fixed price types of sales. But even today in 2024, if someone wins one of your auctions, they have a few days to pay. No other website on earth allows that. No one understands why eBay hasn't fixed this yet, but they say they're working on it. Of course, they've been saying this for years now, literally for years. Since the last eBay Open, that's the huge live event they used to have, way back before the China virus thing, way before that, whenever they last had an eBay Open, that they announced they were going to fix this and make buyers pay immediately. Still isn't fixed. How can you improve the speed at which a buyer pays you? You can't always. Some buyers just will never pay you, but you can invoice them the proper way. Now, every single day, you should look at your seller hub and you will see on your orders section if you are awaiting any payments. Depending on where the payments are coming from. If they're international, there's not much you can do but wait until they pay or until the item just goes back into your inventory and you can cancel the listing and all of that. But if you see awaiting payment and someone is paid that is not international, you can click the awaiting payment and you can, I've had to block the buyer, but it's no big deal. You can click the send invoice button here and that will allow you to remind them of how much they owe. Now they know how much they owe. eBay's emailing them, letting them know. They know they bought their item. They know they bought the item. They know they accepted a bid or whatever it is. They know they owe you money. But it helps to remind them, and I don't mean just once. I don't like to bug buyers who are giving us good money, but so far they haven't given us any. And it is perfectly reasonable in an online environment in today's world where eBay's the only one left that someone doesn't have to pay right away. It is perfectly reasonable to send them an invoice more than once. I send an invoice every single evening. It's one of the last things I do before going to bed. I do so many things in the morning. I just don't want to add this to my morning list, but I do it to my nighttime list. I've been surprised a lot of times. I go to bed earlier than a lot of people because I get up a lot earlier than a lot of people because I want that early bird worm. And I find that if I send an invoice before bed, a lot of people must sign in at night before going to bed or while in bed, even though the blue light's bad for them, and they will go ahead and pay. They'll, oh yeah, I still owe for that. So they'll pay. I wake up to a lot of paid invoices that I send the night before. I used to send them in the morning sometime. It didn't seem like I got paid as quickly for whatever reason. Maybe they see it during the day and they'll go, yeah, I have to pay this at night, and then they forget, and then I have to send it. I send it in every day, well, in my case, every evening until they pay, one per evening. Here's how you do it. You click Send Invoice, and then you will be presented with this screen. You will see it blurry in the center again because I just don't want to show the actual buyer and his address and everything. This is a Magnalite roaster. These Magnalites are really cool. If you ever see WagnerWare or Magnalite pots and pans at garage sales and thrift stores, if it's cheap, it's almost always worth money. And they almost always look a little beat up. They never look they rarely look brand new. A lot of times there's some rubs and scratches and just kind of look like old 60s, 70s, 1970s, 1980s pots and pans. Well, they are, and they're really good and they're really in demand and they go for a lot of money. You will find these for like $1 or $2. You will. Now, other like thrift stores might sell them for $50 or $60 a piece. And depending on what size, if you get a big roaster, I'd pay $50. I don't pay up for many items. I'd sure pay $50 for a Magnalite, which is another term. Magnalite, WagnerWare, WagnerWare, Magnalite. Sometimes they're the same thing. It just depends. You look on the bottom. But if you see an old silver, aluminum looking, sort of not beat up, dented, but rubbed and scratched and not as shiny as it was brand new, that might be a Magnalite. You should turn it over and look. But anyway, I want my money. I'm the rabbit that wants the lettuce. I want this $227 that he paid for this thing. So what I do is you go down, and all you really have to do, I don't give a discount, I don't do anything, I just send them an invoice, don't give a discount or anything else. However, I always put a message to the buyer, always, always, always. I think it helps encourage them. Now, I've mentioned before that I like to use Brevi, or now it's called Abbreviate, the keyboard shortener, keystroke shortener, and I will put a link to this in the description below in case you would like to try this. But I always use the keyboard shortener that I have created called Invoice, INVOICE. I'm getting ready to press the F8 key, and that will expand this text so that I don't have to type the same words every time I send an invoice. I'm going to back up just a minute. What you want to do is look at the buyer's name and make sure you know what he or she bought. The buyer's name, and make sure you know what he or she bought. I'm going to say this buyer's name is Mike. Okay, and here's what my abbreviate keyboard shortener. I type invoice. That's how I stored it. I'm now going to press the F8 key to say expand this. And it will expand it. Watch closely. This is pretty neat. The first thing it does is ask me for my buyer's name. You create this. They're real easy to create. If you get abbreviate and you want me to just to send you what I've done, I'll be glad to. That way you don't have to learn how to do all of this fill in the blank. I have my keyboard shortener actually asking me for the buyer's first name. I'm going to type M-I-K-E and press the tab key. It will now say, we are keeping your, and now it's waiting for me to type something else. What is the item? See, it says item. I'm going to type Magnalite roaster. Now I press tab. I think I spelled that right, but even if I didn't, doesn't matter. I'm going to press tab, and it will continue this invoice that I sent. Exactly. Good morning, Mike. That's the name I added here. We are keeping your Magnalite roaster safe and sound for you. So everything other than Mike and Magnalite roaster is in every invoice that I send every single day for this item or any item that someone owes me money. For all people that owe me money because of an offer that was accepted or a bid that was won, I will always send this every single evening. And if I sent one yesterday evening, I will send one today evening, every evening until they pay, or until so many days go by that I can just cancel the sale and put the item back in the inventory. Good morning, Mike. We are keeping your Magnalite roaster safe and sound for you. As soon as payment arrives, we will wrap all carefully and get your package shipped right out to you. We appreciate you. When someone pays me $252, I do appreciate them. This is totally honest. Every time I tell a buyer I appreciate them, I really, really do. I can't believe they're putting money in my bank. I can't believe it. This is still an amazing thing. Just an amazing thing. We appreciate you. Sincerely offered, Janie and Greg Perry. Always make it a family affair if you're any kind of a family. Or if it's two roommates, put the names there. Make it a family affair somehow. You always want to personalize this so that they know this isn't business to business, even though you are a business, hopefully, but you're also personalizing. They're less likely to try to do you wrong if they put a name and kind of picture you and your family, you're waiting for your money and all of this. The reason my abbreviate is so cool, that keyboard shortener, there are many keyboard shorteners out there. This is just the one I like best. It just lets me fill in the two important words, Mike, the name of the buyer and what they bought. And everything else is just done instantly for me. I type invoice. I'm going to do that all over again. I'm going to do that all over again just to show you. Every single the only thing I have to type is invoice, F8, buyer's first name, Mike, tab, what are they buying? Magnalite roaster, tab, and it fills in the rest. Email me a copy. Usually I'll unclick that, but I don't care. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to send an invoice. That's what I do every single night, and it seems to pay dividends because this reminder, I think I get paid faster. I think you will get paid faster also. This is the way to do invoices properly.